Hello, my lovely spectators. Dee here. Welcome to my studio. So today is Saturday, and to try to incorporate and build my channel to have some consistency and some continuity, and just give myself some focus. Each day of the week is going to be something in particular that I'm going to try to bring to the table. And so today is Saturday, so it's going to be my Saturday showcase. And that's just meaning I'm going to find a video from a while back, maybe not that far back, but you know, one that's been around for a while that I loved what they did, and I want to have some of my own. So I'm going to be using, as you can see, envelopes. And I'm going to be replicating the video that Natasha from Treasure Books did, where she used these envelopes to make pockets that would be able to be floating or even put into another pocket or glued down, whatever the case is. So the reason that she stated that she used these Windows envelopes, and she didn't do the usual collaging of the whole entire front, because if you notice, a lot of the times you will have envelopes that have nothing inside, right? So, you know, you'll get the usual, oh, I have another one of these. Okay. You get the usual, you know, there's nothing in the background. It's just a plain white. So you want to stick something in there. And so that's our trend, is to stick something in there. Well, if you notice, some of them have unique little patterns, right? And meaning that they're not always the same. These are actually two different ones. Now, when I was going through my stash, I pulled everything that had a different colored window with a different type of pattern on the back, right? And then so these are right now, and this is just like a little part of my stash. This is just like the stash that I've been collecting here. The hoardage is for real. Okay, so we're gonna be using, right, we're gonna do it like a mass make. So I'm going to be popping in and out and doing some of the things on a multiple scale, so that way I can mass make, but I could also show you the process, even though I will link Natasha from Treasure Book, her video down below, of course, right? So some of the things that I noticed was that some of these guys have the two windows, and the two windows seems like it might be fun, but I don't think if it's going to be fun for this challenge or this particular project, right? So just showing you so that you have to see all that. Then we've got the single windows, and that's probably more in line with what we want to probably use, and that's what she used. These are single, but they have this little little shape, so I'm not going to use those. These are single as well, and you know, I'm going to be using a single window, but I'm not going to be using these single windows. I'm going to be using the bigger ones, the chunkier ones, okay? And I don't know if that's a mistake on my part, but you know what? That's okay. We have a bunch that have just a single window, and I want to pull ones that I can see just the background. So definitely this one. And this is what I'm saying, like I'm not so sure, because we can see some of this white, if that would matter. So these all have the same situation. This one as well has that little divot there, which may work out. Then we've got the ones that have the words Capital One. I don't think I'm going to use the Capital One one, so I'll put that back in my stash. We have these little C's. We've got another set that has that dip with a different kind of pattern. And so yeah, and so also I have some that I kind of aggressively opened up, and then I was like, what am I doing? I'm supposed to hoard that. I did keep it because I could still use this portion, so I'm not going to use that for this project. I'm going to put it back because I will use that acetate windowy thing for it. And so yeah, so I'm just looking. The other thing is that I opened some of them through the top like this, and I opened some of them through this way, and I don't think it really matters for the way that she did it. So we're going to do a mass make. So I'm just looking for, like I said, ones that have the interesting, like, so since we're not going to be putting anything inside, that was the main thing that was not done by Natasha. So I think I'm gonna hold off on these guys, because we see this a little too much. Okay, I'm still gonna have plenty to do a mask make. I also have some of these big giant ones. So I think I'm gonna also do these big ones, right? So they all have nice windows that are nothing showing. So we will definitely have 4 large. And let's see, how many do we have here? Okay. So I'm just looking because, again, I've turned everything around, right? Yeah, so this, I might not use those. This is okay. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, let's see, 12, 13. 13, let's see here, 13. 14, I'll do that one. Why not? It's okay. 14, and that's it. So 14 is going to be on the agenda. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have it so that I have this sliced open like this. So anything that's already sliced open, wonderful. I'm going to fix all of these edges. If it's sliced up a little wonky, that's fine. We'll add some stuff to this. And if it's not sliced open that way, I'm gonna close this off, adhere it, and then slice it open. And I'm slicing it open on the side, but also the top. Okay, so if you want to go prep some of those, we can do that. So again, slicing it open on the side and on the top up there, and we will be closing up some of it after we do some things. Okay, some of these guys are open for me on the top, so I'm gonna slice it open, and I want to open it specifically with the window on the top. So this is the windows are going to be the top of our project. Okay, so I would do that, right? So all of these like this, I want this to be on the top. Okay, so grab your windows, your windowed envelopes if you want to craft along, and I will within a second, put me on pause. I'm gonna go do what I gotta do to this. You can go find some yourself, or within a second, just let it keep rolling, and we will talk about the next phase of the project. So I'll be right back. So we're back. So basically what we have now should be the envelope here with this like as a flap open over here. So I went in and I was securing all of these pieces, right, that were separated. You could do it on the back as well. That's up to you, whether later on we'll talk about that. Even over here, there's a little bit of, sometimes there was a little bit of a flap. So I would go in there and put some adhesive. The reason being is that this is going to be like a side pocket, right? It's a side tuck, and then we're going to have a pocket. So you'll notice that there's a crease here. I needed to do that so that I could use my trimmer to cut this off, because I have one of those chompy guillotine ones, and it's not that high, but it is the basis of what we're going to be doing in order to make the item. But so the next thing is what I would do is to kind of figure out where this folds. I don't want to cover too much of the envelope, so I'm covering just like a little tiny bit, and I'm just creasing this down here, and I'm going to do that to all of the envelopes, right? So we're going to do that. Okay, and so you know how it goes when you do a mass make, you do all of the same action at the same time. So we're making all of these little pockets. Basically, this is where our pocket is. So right here, since this is kind of peeking out, I might go just a little higher just to cover that. And then now we go to the narrower ones, and we have this. We're gonna make our little pocket here, and that's what we're gonna do for all. We have excuse me, all of our pockets pretty much folded. So it seems like most pocket windows The original, I didn't tell you, but our original is a regular standard 10 size envelope, which is about, oh, my mat is upside down, um, 9.5-ish, and 4.25. And so when we fold this little piece up, if you want to be consistent across all your things, we're folding it up about 2.5. So we're getting a 7 high item. So 7 high is pretty decent to fit into a lot of, you know, journals. If you do a smaller journal, then you can fold it up a little bit more and, you know, get a deeper pocket or cut this part off and make yourself another pocket. So that's where the pocket's going to come from, this fold. But you're not going to adhere this just yet. What's going to happen now is going to be the mass make decoration. So in her video, she used, of course, all the things available to her. So this is going to be specific to be like what is available to you. And so we're going to be trying to layer this with paper, book pages, music sheets. You could use your pattern papers, those thin papers you get from Temu. You could use washi tape. You could use fabric. Of course, you know that Natasha loves to sew. I don't sew, so mine will not have any sewing on it. But I want to incorporate some either fabric or lace, you know, or something like that. Or if you know how to do the scrunch method, you can actually put some and scrunch up and make some ruffles. So the next phase is to go and gather up the first layer. So the first layer is going to be any kind of book page. We're going to be, or any kind of paper. So even though when we do this, we don't have a lot showing on here, the idea of what she did, and I like to have that little finesse, is that we're going to cover anything that is written with a rip tear piece of book page, and then we're going to layer something else under it. So if you ink, you need to get that as well. And that's going to be the next part of this mass make. So go and grab some papers that you want to tear across. You're not trying to cover the window. You're not trying to cover the whole envelope. You want it to kind of see that it is an envelope. You can, if you want to decoupage the whole thing or collage on it, that is your prerogative. But I like the idea that, you know, we're talking about junk journals, and sometimes we cover these envelopes so completely, all we see is the glassine, and we know that it's an envelope. But this will be like, it's kind of obvious that it's an envelope. So we will go and gather up all those little bits and pieces that we need. So book page, music page, piano roll, Temu papers, washi, whatever you want, so that we can do some collage, a little half collage, right? A 1/4 collage right here. Okay, so we'll be back with my stuff, and then we'll start that process. Okay, so I have my stuff. This is gonna be a little bit tight because I need to tear paper, I need to glue paper, I need to push my laptop just a little back to give myself. So this is one of those chopping blocks from Dollar Tree. So let me move up a little bit so I try to make some space. Okay, so we could see everything. Hopefully I'll stay in frame. And these are the chopping blocks from the Dollar Tree. They come like 2 in a pack. I don't know if this is the newer. I think the new ones are slightly thinner. They don't have a texture. They're smooth completely. This I've been using for backup to cutting some stuff. It's not a cutting board. It's not going to heal. But I've also been using it to like a glue page kind of thing, you know, because then I could just, you know, let it dry from before, and then I could just wash it, you know, and reuse it. So I don't know. That's an idea. All of my book page here. So I have a little avalanche over here. So I'm going to put them off to this little area right there. So I've got a bunch of different type things. So I got this book from, I don't know where, but it had some nice patina, and it's all about coins. So we have coin images, right? And so I, you know, took it apart. You can see that I took it out of signatures. I'm going to use maybe some of this. So these are the things that I took out. I have some music paper that I used a deckled edge on there, so that might come out again. Might be a little nice little added part to this. So I have a few, but I have more on the side there. These were some cards that I have put in like to make ephemera. They're not super heavy duty, but I have a few of them, so I like the shine from the spritz and stuff like that. I think that that's cute. And I'm hoping to maybe not use it part of this first layering, but maybe I could use it on the front of the pocket. So there's a little bit of a vintage, and then this, I'm not sure just yet. Because again, making ephemera pieces and pockets, etc., you know, you make stuff, you're playing with fabulous papers and different colors and things of that nature, and then it's like you have, you know, what journal is it going into? I don't know how specific. I've got these. These are so pretty. To rip them might be a little difficult. Maybe not this one, but we shall see. Adding a little piece of this here and there. This was also from Temu. Junk journals. Everyone's jumping on that, right? That's what it looks like. The packaging. I also got these from Temu, which have book page and florals on there. So getting a little piece of that would be interesting. I've used this a number of times. It's not cardstock, but it's a little thicker than regular paper. So we'll see if that's going to work out. I had used it on something else. Where's that? Those two pieces that I had. I don't know why. Oh, these are Tim Holtz papers. I took these just because I'm not gonna put them here, but like I had them in here, just found them. So, you know, because a lot of people do those paint chip. Oh, I just found a whole more bunch of papers. Hold up. Okay, all right. Ooh, that's a lot. All right. Anything else? Did I get them all? Okay. Yeah, so I don't have any paint chips, but they gave me that vibe, so I kept them. All right, so oh, okay, so we've got some textured, embossed pieces, some scrapbook paper. That, you know what? That could be for the pocket. That's not a problem. Oh, packaging. I'll stick that over here. Some more embossed pieces. We've got some doily looking things. I mentioned in another video that I used a couple of these. I was not happy. I thought they were all going to be like this filigree cutout, but the window for returning and complaining kind of came and went. So, but we can use that. I also have this big old book. So just a lot of variety, so that I want to try to make them look different than each other, but I don't know. We shall see. So this is more embossed stuff. These are some other papers with other textures on them that could be torn. I've got some greens. So I love me the greens. Kind of big. And then I also have these that have floral, and they have a little bit of a jagged edge. So let's go through what it is we're trying to do. So I'm gonna start with one of these. So again, this is open on the top, right? We can always go in and fix anything that's lifted that could get stuck, right? Once you make your fold, right, you can glue this closed. If you will glue it closed, I think I will, or maybe not, because you could also have another little tiny little tuck side pocket thing, so you would just have to fix that little flap. So I didn't address the pockets, I just addressed this part. So what I want to do is I want to book page and put some stuff here to kind of give it some dimension. I wish I had, let's start with some music page, right? So I'm just going to grab this, I'm going to cut it on a little bit of an angle. Okay, I want it to be able to be inside of this, right? And then let's just do that. If we hang it over, that's not a problem. We can hang it over and then just trim it off. I'm gonna grab brush corduroy. Where's my blender? Yeah, but brushed corduroy just because it's right there. And we're gonna put some ink on the bowl here, and then we're going to add some inkage. So yeah, so I thought this was cute. Another way to kind of use envelopes in a clever way. Yes, we've used envelopes as pockets before. That's not an issue. All right, so why I brought in this was because I need to glue. So I'm gonna put that next to it so that I can use this as my kind of my glue page. And I got this one. I'm not 100% happy with this either because I feel like, I don't know, I think well, first of all, it's all purpose washable. It doesn't say permanent, so that's an issue. But I feel like I think I have to put like so much glue maybe to keep it, because when I go a little light-handed, I feel like it just disappears. Okay, so I want to cover the words up there. Okay, I'm gonna do that and cover a little bit over, and then I want to make sure whatever that I covered that. Now I can also ink around the edges here. Okay, and we're not just gonna put one piece of paper. We want to have some you know, a little bit of a collage going on. So just inking up everything right now real quick. Okay, and yes. So now let's take another piece of something. Let's grab a piece of this maybe. So let's try to grab this little guy right here. So we're gonna, again, I just, everything by hand, just tearing it. This doesn't have that edge, so I'm gonna try to go as close to the edge as possible. I don't want to lose too much of the floral, but I want to have that raggedy edge to it. Okay, almost there, almost there. And then maybe something else. We'll see. Okay, let's ink her up. Okay. Yes. So, what do you think about this idea that I have of doing this whole mass make? Well, this case is a mass make, but doing a showcase. If there's somebody you think I should watch and you want to see me do their project on a showcase day, by all means, tell me in the comments and I'll take a look, because hey, why not? Or if you want to challenge me to do your project, I'll take that on as well. So here we go. So we're just, again, putting stuff here and there. Maybe I want to add another little over here. So I want to leave this open so that whatever we wind up putting in here is going to be showing through, of course, right? And while it's not, we get this interesting pattern from there. Now this is a bigger one, so I may be inclined to maybe add a little bit of something here. So let's do that. Let's take the other piece of the book page, because why not? And let's put it over there. And yeah, we will do that. So that's what I would consider doing on a larger book envelope, book envelope pocket thingy. Pocket, envelope pocket. Now, besides doing the front area, which is this area that we're looking at right now, and this worked out because the font is the right way up, right? Besides doing this, if you want it to be glued down, you can glue it down, then you wouldn't do anything on the back. But if you want it to be floating and people would pick it up and touch it, then you also want to maybe collage something on the back. Since it's plain, you maybe want to just collage your frame. It might be pretty to collage your frame in order to have like a middle center writing area. Maybe you have a piece of that's a little bigger than this, and you can just take out the center, and then you can glue it down. And I don't think I have. Do I have one? Let me show you. I know, it's like we're supposed to be mask making and doing one thing, but when I come with an idea, you know what? We'll show that later. We'll show that later because that's I'm getting off track over here. So from the same one here, let me add another piece on this side. So I'm gonna take off this part, and I want this red flower to be here, and so I'm gonna put that right there, and then that's going to be all that I'm going to put on this. Okay, so this is the next layer, right, is to collage a couple of pieces of paper onto the book page. Again, see how it's already kind of dried up, so then I could just go, okay, and we're going to put this bad boy like right there. Okay. All right, so this part of the collaging for this one is done, right? If you want to try to ink around here, you can. If you take your dauber and you go off of the plastic, okay, and you go towards the edge, right, then just make sure that within a reasonable amount of time, right, you put a little bit of moisture on the window, and then you'll be able to wipe off from the window. There we go. And now we have the inked edge as well there. Okay, so I'm gonna do one of these. We did one of these. Let's do a narrow one, and let's take a look at the narrow ones, and then, you know, we'll go off and mask make. Alright, so again, we have the narrow one, and this one is also kind of, I'm looking for something that may cause us an issue, which just this thing on the side. These all seem to be pretty open, so that's cool, right? Then it's just a matter of how much you want to cover, right? And this one too, you have to cover it. So let's do this one, this one here, and let's use something other than the music, or let's use music and something else. So with this one, let's take off a piece of that, okay, and we're gonna do this, okay, and then we're gonna have some of that. And so that's going to cover up and a little bit of the window. So the idea is to kind of skirt the window a little bit. And so now I want to ink up my edges. And I'll put these pieces over there. Okay, so we're going to do that. Okay. And so yeah, just a matter of a light layering, nothing too crazy. Okay. So that it would be, you add some fun to it. Okay, so we're going to glue this up. So I hate when it goes under the page and you get that little glob. Like this. Okay, and then I'm going to do that there. So trying to make it, since this has the edge that's not scissor cut, but it is straight, we'll try to make it parallel to the edge here so it looks purposeful. This covers, it did cover most of this. That's okay. If I want to make it smaller, I could, but I think then it would be too small of a tuck to put in there. Let's add some other layer to this. We still have some of this, so why not? Let's just finish it off. Get rid of it. So we're gonna just cut out this long flower here. Okay, I put that over there, and then we're gonna put it, a sticker here. All right, maybe a little bit more on this side. You know, yeah, that's good amount. We're not covering too much of the window, but that's your judgment call on that. How much of the window you want to have showing. right? That's the point, is to have that window as part of the design. Okay, so now let's go back over here to our glue area. Okay, let's put it right here. Okay, then we're gonna go like that. Okay, so we got that going on here. And maybe we want to add something right here. Let's see, do I have a little piece of music that I could just, I don't know if I cut off another piece of music or not. Where is this? No. Book page, no. I thought I had some more music. I'll just take a little piece of music and stuff. So I'm good with that. Just to have some other elements. I'm just inking off to the side in case it starts to fluffer all over the place. Okay. And again, how far down? Okay. All right. So this is done as far as I'm considering it. And yeah, I mean, later on, if you want to add labels or something like that, then you can totally do that. So we're going to go off now, and we're going to decoupage all of the windows, and then we'll come in the next phase of what we're going to do. So I will be back in a second. So I have used a number of the papers. Let's go up a little higher. And it's just going to show you, and then we'll talk about the next phase in order to do these pockets. So I covered any kind of visual what's the word, printing or anything of that nature. So the next part is going to be for us to glue this up, right? So let's do that, and then I'll show you each one. And yeah, so I tried to change up the look as much as I could, but you know what? We don't know where they're going to go, and that's fine. I've been thinking about what I'm going to include, so you can see. Let's see, move it this way a little bit. I'm going to put glue up this edge and on this edge here. Okay, and then I can do that. And we're going to be able to put some kind of decoration or papers here, and I'll show you. Also, if you wanted to close this part up, which I think I will on some of them, so just going to show you, just go in here, you go over here, make sure that your pieces all have glue, and you flatten that down. So now you've got your side tuck pocket. The back, we've not done anything. Later on, when you decide what you're going to use it for, then you can put a back on here. And then you have your pocket that's right there. Okay, so this is one of the ones that I did. So I'm just going to glue them and show you. So just, you know, nothing too crazy. I made sure that I was tucked underneath the lip of this pocket that we're making when we glue it up. Okay, I tried to use a mixture of things and make sure that I left enough of the window that I felt like it was purposeful. Okay, and yeah. Okay. Here I have a little bit of a lift, so I'm just going to add some glue and then be able to kind of, you know, tweak that down. But it's rough. So some of that checkerboard, some of that bee flower, and then some music paper. This, I had a picture of those doilies, like I said, some of that floral printed already paper. So, you know, we're not decorating the entire front, but again, if you want to, that is up to you. This is more about how we can take the envelope, leave some of the window open, open the window, open the envelope itself, and have ourselves a pocket, a floater, and a nice little thing where we can add different types of ephemera. So I did that. Let's look at all the small ones. I put on both sides. There was something up here, I think, and something down here, so I put it on both sides. It did go into that window a little bit, but that's okay. We're not making a perfect frame in that window. So yeah, that's cool. So I'm gonna have to cover. So that's gonna be the next thing, is to pull papers and cover the front. Now, you could also add fabric. You could add clusters. You know, she had a lot of fabric and ribbon. That was nice. I have some ribbon, some lace, but don't know if I'm gonna put that on here just yet. So again, nice little pocket there, and then you have this open to be able to receive. Now, of course, because you have putting glue, they're gonna get a little misshapen. So you want to kind of, you know, manhandle them into the shape that you need them to be. Put them under a bunch of boxes of something, and you're going to be able to do that. So covered a lot of it. That's fine. We still have the hint of the pocket. And we're going to keep doing this. And then I want to show you the idea that had sprung into my head before, when I was trying to do like this mass make thing, right, where we're doing the same thing to everything. Ooh, I hope I don't get a copyright for that. So if it did, then you're not going to be seeing this video. I had somebody playing in the background from YouTube. Oh no, I wasn't even paying attention, because you know I have YouTube on all the time in my house, so it just didn't even dawn on me. So oh no. Okay, we got that down on the side, and this side over here, and this side over here. Okay, so I use either frayed burlap, brushed corduroy, or scorched timber. I wasn't too keen on the yellow of it. I like a darker one, so I switched around between scorched timber, frayed burlap, and brushed corduroy. Right? Yes, I think that's the right way. Okay, we're going to attach the edge over here. Okay. And then we're going to... So again, when you're making the flap, you're putting the glue to close this up only for this pocket here. Because remember, when you have this open, you want to be able to have it open all the way to the bottom. So you can put something in. So let's say, again, we can put a card in there, and then we would see the card behind it. You can put a card, and you could put, where is it? A little tag in there, and you can see both things. Okay, so it's easy access. You could also put something in the front right there. I gotta glue this side a little better. So when they take this out, the reveal, and then multiple things can be inside. So yeah, it's a fun, this is a fun little piece to have in our stash as we're doing journals and stuff. Okay, another one here. I decided to leave some of the regular edges and not be cutting them up. So again, we're gonna put glue on this to close up that pocket. If you're deciding that you want to close up that pocket down here, you could keep it as a tuck pocket. Here, put a little tag in there. It's up to you. Okay, so some are more subtle, some have the florals, bright, some not so bright, right? And combo of different types of paper. Yeah, so almost done with this. Okay. So what do you think about, like, when you mass make and you're making bases and you make a master board and, you know, fine and well, but to mass make when you actually are decorating something, how do you address that when you have to put it into a journal? How do you store your ephemera that's already made? I don't have a system right now. I have like a bin, and I just throw everything into a box and I close the lid. Not super efficient, because I won't even know what's in there. And so, yeah, I need to find a better way in order to have that accessible to me. So as I am planning a journal to make, or have made a journal and need to spruce it up and add some ephemera, that I was able to kind of find things that make sense. So does it make sense, or how do you guys do it where you I'm looking for the small ones. Okay, so we did all of these, the 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 10 of the standard size envelopes, and now we have the big envelopes here. So the same thing, right? Then we're going to decorate the front. I still need to close this up. I just don't want to deal with a tiny little thin tag, to be honest, to put in here. I think it has enough, in my opinion, it has enough space in order to hold a lot of different pieces to make it fun and interactive and really give the recipient, if it's part of a thing, a lot of stuff to do. You know, pieces in here. So, you know, got a little involved, a couple different layers here. I kept it really simple because I had these nice owls, and then I did put music on the side, which I'm not averse to putting words and stuff on the side. So I was just using up whatever I could as I cut into some of these pieces. I didn't want to leave a bunch of like tiny little scraps, so I used a lot of the same piece until it was no more and it was this big and I could throw it in the trash. Okay, and then this one I decided to just leave the straight edge, because why not? The full page would have been ripped, have to be ripped, and that's what I meant. I didn't want to leave a whole thing. This may be upside down. No, it's right side up. So, and I just decided to put it in a different way to add a little whimsy, add a little fun. So, yeah. Okay. Almost. Okay. So on the front here, you're definitely going to want to collage. I mean, the envelopes are for the most part white. You could have coffee dyed your envelopes prior to doing this whole process, which would have added a little bit more of a texture to them, because it does change the texture of the paper. Then it would not be so stark white. So that's an option to consider before starting this process. Okay. The other thing is, when you do that, make sure if there's anything that's glue exposed that it's not, you know, you can close it up ahead of time, but it will just probably come apart. So just be careful with that. Okay, so the next phase is going to be for us to decorate the front of this pocket to add a little something to it. What I was talking about before we do that, this was one idea that I was thinking of, and maybe I'll do it just because. Okay, where is it? I have some coffee dyed, some coffee dyed music paper. So I could easily add a full sheet in order to kind of help to decorate the back, but then I would lose the opportunity for a journaling spot. So that's something you may want to think about. The other thing, let's see, I don't know where that book is. Okay, we'll just do it with this. It's not a big deal. Is to, let's see, we'll leave that like that. Okay, let's, okay. I did this in another piece of ephemera kind of that I made with the raven. It's with the transparency, so I was thinking to kind of do the same technique in a way. So I'm just trying to make sure I can get it to fit on the back pretty nicely, right? So this is a quick cover all, but then we're still going to have some journaling space available. This guy's not bothering me too much. Oh, this is more interesting, right? Is to then just go into the center. Don't make a hard thing, and kind of make a hole. Right? Or make a little, even make a little frame kind of thing. And just give yourself, once you have your full-on perimeter, you can give yourself as much or as little space. And then you still have this piece to use as, and you can do this with book page, with map, whatever the case is. And then you can just plop this right there, right? Ink it up, and then you have kind of decorated the back, but left a spot to make writing. If you wanted to even put this on coffee dyed and add it as a double layer, that's an option as well. So just wanted to show you a little something that I was just like, oh, I could use that idea. So I'm not going to glue this down because I don't have time. I'm not inking this right now, but just wanted to share that little tidbit. So now we want to take papers that we can now layer. So you can find something that's going to cover the entire piece. So I have a bunch of these, right? But I also have those other ones. And with me, even though this is very muted and I have this, I don't mind putting those two things together. I think it would be actually kind of interesting and cute. So I have a couple of long ones. So I might just do that, because then I'm going to add more to the front of it later, you know. And so let's do that for the long ones, because I want to have yeah, so I'm gonna do that. So we'll do that in a minute. I do still have more that I could do on the short one, so I could probably put, let's do 2 of them. Let's see, 2 of them like that. Let's do another 2. Let's see, this one and that one. So I'm taking the more duller ones that don't have a lot of color. I'm thinking that that might work to be able to put something on there. And I'm just going to use those. I'm going to put the rest into my stash of paper. Okay. And then with these guys, I'm going to need to do some decorating on here. So I could use, I could put a doily. I always have a doily on here, so no, that's not going to work. I got to put part of a doily on there if you wanted to peek out. So I might do that and add some other paper there. I could also put, let's see, another round element there. So we'll do 2 with round elements. And put this papers away. And then I have some more of these kind of papers. So I might add that to that, and maybe add this to that, right? And that'll be 1 layer. And then I could add this, which is a smaller one, on top. So let's just do 1 of each. And you know, you have those ideas. And we'll go from there. Okay, let me put these back. Oh, I need to pick one from there. Got that. And then we have, might as well use the texture. Oh, I'm not going to use the texture one. I like this one. This is pretty. So maybe I'll get rid of some of the texture ones. This is pretty. I like that with that. I do like this with that. Let's see. For this one, let's do something flat. Okay, let's put that guy there. Okay, and then we have the 2 doilies and the fancy whatever. So the next round is going to be a layer of paper for the pocket. So I'm going to do that, since you see what I'm going to apply, and then we will be back with how that looks. So I've done all of the cover of the pocket. So let's take a look at some of the things that I came up with. So I wanted to use the doily, and I realized that the doily wasn't going to cover the entire thing. So I had started to kind of glue it down. It does allow for the pocket to be here, even though it hangs over. But then I left it open because, hey, why not have another little tuck right there? And also, I flipped it over, right? I did leave this open, so I made sure that this stayed open. But that little bit is here. So now maybe on the back right here, we just put something like this, right? See, it matches that one, so why not? And we will say that it is kind of done. So that was the only thing that I was noticing, is that the backs needed sometimes to have something covering them, right? Especially, well, only if they actually had some words. So I didn't ink it or anything like that, but it's just, you know, a little something to cover that. So this one I would consider done. If I want to add a label or something later on, or something over here, we would be good, right? But right now we have a little pocket here, we have this, and we have our side. And the back has some decorative element, but plenty of journaling space. On this, I used the pocket as well. Did the same thing. So we still have the pocket that's here. We have this little tuck now because of the doily, and then of course this opens up. And on the back, we have a little bit here. So let's see, do I have? So I got a bunch of these, and I find like these are hard to use because they're embossed, so they will only, to me, they make sense to become part of a cluster. So I'm just gonna put this as a right now onto the spaces that have writing, right? And then when I go to actually do it, I can add an additional cluster on here. And you know, you may say, oh well, what if you wanted to glue it down? Well, yeah, that's true, but I don't know. I feel like these are nice to be floating. I don't know. That's just my personal preference. So don't do this until you decide what you want to do, if it's going to get glued down or not. But I'm going to cover all of these up. So now this is considered done and done, waiting for labels or something, and something else over here with still journaling space. Okay, this one, all I did was put the piece of fabric, the piece of paper, almost looks like fabric on the front. We still have our little pocket, and on the back I folded it over and left it. There's nothing else over here, so I will leave it completely like this, so that, you know, it has something on the back, right? It's a little lifting, so we'll just add a little glob of glue to get that done. So that's our next one. Okay, with the so this is another one that used that looks like fabric, and again on the other side. Now I put this corner so it hung over, but I didn't want to close that up, so let's be careful. Excuse me. So now this has that, so I'm gonna grab let's see, yeah, this is on the front, so I'm gonna grab this one for the back and put it on the back. Okay, so we're gonna do that. So it's the last little details, and still leaving it for further embellishment to kind of tie into something that goes on in your journals that you're putting it in. So okay, so then that's done. We got our pocket and we got our flap there, and we have room to decorate with some other things. Now with these guys, they had the embossing. So I thought it was cute because it's such hard cardstock. I just folded it over. I can still decorate on the front. I still left this side open and that, but it sticks out. And I thought that that was an interesting little detail, that it sticks out like that. If you don't like that, you could cut it. I'm gonna leave it like this for now. I kind of like that idea. Can put a little cluster of something later on, put a little fabric, but that's done. I did the same thing with this one with the butterflies. So I just folded it over. I'm just turning them over to make sure that if we need to put anything on the backs, which we don't, but I like that idea. So now this was the sprayed paper. So basically this was when I was making my testers for all my sprays. So I have swatches. I figured, you know, might as well not let the ink go to waste. So I had a piece of paper catching that ink, and I just cut it, cut one off. So I have a little mountains here, but we have our little pocket as usual, and our pocket to the side to add to, you know, there. And then there's nothing to, oh, I do have to put something in the back. So let's see. With this one, I think I'm gonna grab, where I have more of that left over. So let's grab, oh, where is it? We have that. Okay, so if you'll notice, some of it is very shiny and some of it is kind of dull. There was a mixture of doing the metallics and also like the oxides kind of. So with this one, I think I'm just gonna cut. Yes, let's just do something like that. And then we have this decorative edge if we need it for something else. Okay, so we're just gonna attach that. So it kind of matches what's going on in the front. There we go. Okay, there we go. So we get the front, and then we get the back with some purples and blues. This little tip. Okay. There we go. And that one is done. I was using this one as just, you know, like you said again, the pocket. And then it was a little short, so I pulled out some of the music paper edges. And I just covered it, you know, inked it a little bit. On the back, we need to put something. So let's grab another little piece of this. Okay, and let's see how we're going to do that. So let's, no. It's kind of big, but you know what? I don't mind that. It's all about being, you know, decoration, decoration. Okay. There we go. Alright, so there we go. We have the back covered now. A lot more than I would have, but it makes it feel, you know, right, like I said. And then you have your this and the pocket that works in the front. Perfect. With this one, this is where I saw that we had the oxides on the other side of some of the paper, so I put the oxide out here. I love this so much. And we have our pocket, no problem. We have a little bit of a piece up there, so let's just grab, it's not oxide, but let's just grab, I know it doesn't always have to be a huge gigantic piece. I'll just grab a little piece like that to cover it up. Okay. There we go. Alright, so some of the colors, you know, are a little different, but that's okay. It's colorful. Just to cover up the little barcode. With this one, I decided to use book page because I was like, we've used a lot of that. So I just put the music paper and then on the pocket. And so, oops, it's not glued all the way. Okay. And then I use one of these things to just add some texture because of the light green. And on the back, we need to also add another piece. So let's see, do I have another green one? I do. It's slightly different, and I'm just going to use it. Okay, we have to use our stuff. We can't be hoarding. Stop hoarding. Hashtag stop hoarding. All right, and then... yes, there we go. All right, so now I got that, and that's done and done for me, leaving up ample place to kind, oh, it's the same one, ample place to kind of decorate later on. Okay, now with the big one, wait, there was one, hold up, no, that's right. So with the big pocket, I took one of these bigger ones that was kind of tall, and I like what I had done with the dual layer, but I said, you know what, with this one, why not make it an actual tuck spot? So we have the pocket from the envelope, and then because we have enough of this front page, we could make another little tuck there. And on the back, it's clear, so we're not going to touch anything on the back. But I did that for this pocket, right? So I could add another piece here on front, but I will wait until I'm ready to decorate it with, you know, some labels or some, you know, something else. Maybe another sticker, floral. Then I could decide what I want to do with the height of the decorations. Okay. With this one, I went back to where I was getting the florals and took the top piece and just made a simple little pocket. And I could add something like this. I could add something like that right on here. But I'm going to wait until we decide whether or not or what we want to put anything else on here, because I think it looks cool. It looks a little weird right here, but maybe I could add a ruffle or something after the fact. I'm not bringing out fabric for this video. And so yeah, so we've got the pocket and we've got the slide in the inside. And then the last two have that matte version. So this one again is just a regular old pocket, nothing special. It wasn't too big, so I just left it alone. I kind of like that I could do that because of the yellow. Do I have another one that's kind of like copacetic with it? You know what? I'm gonna do it for this one. I'm gonna add that. Okay, so we're just putting it on half of that, and so it's right there, and we still have full use of our pocket, but it gives a little more interest. Okay, and nothing on the back. And then the last one, I have that same thing going on here, and I put this gray one, grayish blue, to pick up from there. And there's stuff on this one. So let's take this last piece that we have and let's get kooky with it. I'm gonna do it this way. Let's see what I can get out of here and make it interesting. Okay, so I could put this here, right? Why not? And I could put that there. I could put this here, and then with this one that wouldn't work, but I could cut it off. But it's like, I don't want to throw out the little piece. I think I'm gonna go kooky like that, and then could do this. Yes, okay, we're gonna do that. So we're gonna glue this to cover any of the writing. Okay, so I'll put this one up here. Okay. And then we're gonna just have fun and take off this little square. Okay. All right. So this is my interpretation of Natasha's pocket from the windowed envelopes. So we have something else we can do with the window envelopes versus just doing folios or tip outs or flip outs. We have now a floating pocket option. So let me show you where we are and say my little outro words to you all who have been here watching and stuff. You can tell me when it's a mass make. If you appreciate this, we'll do a couple pieces together and then I bring back and we talk about it. Or do you want to sit here and watch the entire decoration, the mass making, the whole thinking process? You want me to talk about it completely? So trying to keep the, oh no, see, dirty hands, no bueno. Okay, I have a wet wipe here. Let's see if I can, whew. Yes, I could get it off. Let me clean my hands. So yeah, so I would love feedback in terms of how my videos are going for you guys. I want to make this the best experience. I don't want to change necessarily my flow and who I am, but if I'm always going to just be talking to myself, then I'm not getting my goal, which is to be able to inspire and bring, you know, crafty goodness to you guys. So yeah, let me know. So let me put that to the side because it's still got some juice in it. All right, so again, we made 14. So here's the back and the front. This is one, the big ones. Again, that's the next one. We got this one. No, that's the third one. And then we have this one. And that's, so big ones can also be done. Then we have our little ones, right? That's one. And we have 10 of these. 2. We got this one. 3. This one. 4 here. These, the big cards that I love. 5. Another one. Waiting for that final decoration. 6. 7. 8. With this. And 9. How did I don't know how to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So yeah, so here we go. If you're new, thank you so much for hanging out this long and for watching. Hopefully I was able to bring something to the table that you would like to do. If you did get something, please consider subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing. If you're already been a subscriber, thank you so much for being here again and holding in there and coming back. Excuse me. So until the next time, which is Sunday, we're gonna tomorrow have a video on Sunday Shop Your Stash. So basically using one of those people that, you know, products, designers, whatever, that you tend to hoard, or that basically I tend to hoard. So last time it was the Tim Holtz, mostly because I was afraid of it. But this time I'm going to look into my shelves and see who am I hoarding, who haven't I used, you know, we'll bring that to the table and we'll make something. So again, until then, thank you so much for being here. Ciao, ciao. Bye.